Today, my group members, Julia, Anise, and I will discuss the case of Montes Betcher. Montes versus Betcher. The plaintiff of this case being Fernando Montes. He is a swimmer and diver of Nebraska, and the defendant being Mr. and Mrs. Betcher. They are the owners of the resort in Minnesota where the event took place. This case was brought to the higher court by the plaintiff after the court ruled in favor of the Betchers. In this case, Fernando was visiting the resort owned by the Betchers. He was one of the recurring customers that the resort had. While at the resort, Fernando dove from the dock of the lake, and shortly after the jump, he surfaced the water with a severe laceration to his scalp and a vertebral fracture. It was noted that Fernando was an excellent diver, and he had successfully dove off of this exact dock before. After searching the bottom of the lake, it was concluded that the injuries he obtained was most likely caused to a concrete block that looked like a homemade boat anchor that the owners used often to dock boats at their docks. The owners of the resort did not take any precautions to recognize this area as a swimming area to any nearby boats, so there were boats in and out of this area. They did not have a sign warning the potential dangers of swimming near the dock. They even confessed in court that they had never raked the bottom of the lake or regularly inspected it for potential hazards. For the original case, the court ruled in favor of the Betchers due to the fact that they only owned the property touching the lake, so they were not really responsible for the maintenance of the property beyond the shoreline. However, in the higher court case, the case was ruled in favor of Fernando Montes. This was because the Betchers were using their lakefront property for the advantage of the resort. That means that they should be responsible for the maintenance. They're almost advertising the lake as part of the resort, so it's their duty to protect their patrons that decide to swim in the resort swim in the lake that is advertised to be part of the resort. In the case, they wrote his injury was perfectly justified in determining that appellants had violated this duty in any one of three respects. 1, their failure to warn the dangers of diving off the boat dock. 2, their failure to periodically rake the swimming or diving area in search of dangerous obstructions. And 3, their failure to segregate swimming areas from boating areas. The questions that we created in regards to the case are: would the damages differ if this was a child that was injured instead of an adult? And also, would the outcome of the case changed if there was potentially alcohol involved? Thank you.